Mr. Deputy Speaker, as a country, we have come a long way and achieved many accolades and a good reputation on the international stage since Singapore was founded. This would not have been possible without the vision and the good governance from our forefathers. Like many other young Singaporeans, I wonders going for Singapore to SG100 and beyond. As the global environment changes, so has our country. Some things can no longer remain status quo. Good is probably insufficient at times. More often, we need more than good. But I believe it is this changing new world and its challenges that help define us, and even bring new dimensions to nation building. If we continue to adapt, raise the bar, and challenge what we are able to achieve, and be guided by good governance, both the public sector and as citizens, Singapore can continue to shine brightly. Internationally, Singapore is reputed for good governance. For this to be maintained, we need to do more and better each time. So what exactly is better or best in governance? I do not think there is a single definition or milestone that fully embodies what governance is. In my view, I would consider better governance as one that is strategic, forward-looking, continues to adjust or sets new benchmark befitting the circumstances, and has effective ground implementation with proper accountability. This bill has set up some aspects of this nature, but I would like to highlight 3 areas for consideration by the public service. 1, encourage a more positive culture and accountability. With the many years of public service in Singapore, it is undeniable that a positive working culture does exist. Through my interactions with the agencies, I've worked with good-minded public service individuals who go the extra mile for the community. But we need more of such individuals. Given the complexity of projects moving ahead, we need even stronger cooperation and coordination between the interagencies, from planning to implementation. Less silos is absolutely necessary. For better implementation, it will be best when one of the agencies can take the lead and be responsible in any joint projects. It is critical for clear accountability and necessary should there be no revolving doors. This is also equally applicable to government-linked companies. Public service workers should be encouraged to give their best always and not worry that their actions are not the usual approach. In public service, it is the results and the positive impact on the community that matter, and not the process. Increasingly, there are more challenges that we will encounter which may never be prescribed or previously documented. We need the working level in the public service to be empowered and supported to take such initiatives. There is no absolute in public service, no absolute right or wrong approach. Each need to be tried and adapted per the needs to the target group or for that purpose. This is also the spirit that we are trying to promote in schools and inculcate in our young, to try and know that it is okay to fail. Certainly, there's more than a single approach or solution to every challenge, and not trying but leaving things to status quo will make us worse off on the long run. Let me cite a typical example of common public works where accountability, open communication, and effective communication between the agencies and community are important. I'm sure many have heard that to enable the better first and last mile connectivity, LTA has put up covered walkways within 400 meters of the MRT stations. By default, the walkways will cover the different exits of each MRT station to the immediate surrounding pathways. What happens if one of the pathways to be covered is not a frequently used route by pedestrians? Or what if it is known that there are future works currently in planning that may be required this covered pathway to be taken down within a short time after it is installed? Should the work still proceed as the contract has been awarded, or should it be partially deferred for future? On the same note, some of the works involve various agencies as it encompasses matters ranging from underground utilities to the trees. Without proper cross-coordination in its implementation, the disamenity created can be huge and constant. With better coordinated planning and implementation between these agencies, I believe we can look forward to reducing wastage of resources. And with that, I mean finance, time, workers. Additionally, this can enable the lead agency to have the ability to stop or to reprioritize projects if the objectives or needs have changed. To be accountable for public services, we need the courage to pull the plug or make changes as projects progress and not continue when the final impact on the public is less than desired. 2, data governance. The digital world has changed our lives, the lives of every common man. Has the digital world made our lives better or worse? I think it is up to us to leverage the best and harness the power of digitalization. Every individual has the rights to decide if information should be provided and be respectfully protected. When the Personal Data Protection Act, PDPA, was introduced, I felt it was a great move. The PDPA gave individuals the choice to opt out of communication they found irrelevant and what not to be shared. However, with the advent of technology, more data are generated from the sources we interact with on a daily basis. And as reflected in some of the initiatives in collaboration with the ministries, data have shown to effectively assist the individuals, especially the vulnerables. Take, for example, under the Southeast CDC, the program that's called the Neighbours for Active Living. Volunteers have been successfully matched as befrienders with the vulnerable elderly that's living on their own, those who are also frequent admitters to the hospitals. The regular visits by the volunteers have reduced the admission rate of those vulnerable elderly and certainly gave them friends who became their friend and their family. As our population ages, how can we encourage more of such initiatives to assist the elderly to age within our community? For more effective outreach, there will come a point when it is difficult for the ministries to roll out more programs on the ground solely with internal resources, especially if it requires intense, frequent follow-up with the individuals. How then can we harness external resources, for example, the ground-up voluntary groups, the VWOs, beyond the ministries to assist the needy and vulnerables in our society without infringing their privacy through sharing of data, knowledge, or relevant information? With this said, I do recognize that individuals' privacy and wishes must still be respected and honored. Thus, any changes to enable the interagencies, voluntary groups, and individuals and the community to collaborate must be built upon the fundamental principle of personal choice as set out in the PDPA. 3, partnership with citizens. With time, our society has become more plural and diverse. It is a fact that we have to embrace and adapt our policies too. Governance is no longer restricted to the public sector. It requires our citizens to be a part of the process. The more our citizens take an active role in it, the more effective our implementation will likely be and plausible for future changes to take place. As mentioned earlier, ministry-led community projects being one such example. The quantity of programs is a poor indicator of quality and effectiveness of outreach. At times, it competes for the same pool of resources. It may also result in our inability to scale up on programs and only having to scrap and replace with yet another program. Thus, we should utilize the community knowledge and data-driven approach to strengthen our social safety net. Moving forward, how can we enable our citizens to become communicators and partners of future policies on the ground? While setting major strategic directions of a country continues to be the government's role, our citizens can take an active role in discussion and feedback on community and societal topics. I would like to suggest a few areas to be considered and taken further from its current form. First, increase the depth and exposure of our school-going children to our constitution and policy-making process earlier in the education curriculum. Let them understand what the various committees represent and do, how and what the annual budget actually means to their lives. Second, allow more bills with societal impact or related to family to a wider public consultation process. Provide more time for the public to provide objective, constructive views both online and offline, and in person sessions to sound views extensively and have more thorough discussion before the bills are passed. Lastly, increase the current local training and communication of policies through dialogues by the public servants to the local community. Mr. Speaker, I trust that many Singaporeans, public servants or not, hold this country dear to our hearts and want the best for Singapore. While we are thankful for what the public servants have been doing, we need to look beyond the current. Encourage more to think out of the box, take initiatives, be comprehensive and thorough and thoughtful throughout the service delivery. Should this mean the public sector has to change and adjust where required to meet current times, we have to do it. If new yardsticks, new measures must be put in place to better protect and account for public funds, service interaction, etc., this must be continuously reviewed, redesigned, and implemented. Likewise, We too hope our citizens play their part as we build our nation. Be encouraged to volunteer, build a sense of ownership and belonging for Singapore and fellow citizens. Demonstrate active citizenry, and therefore, they should have the options to embark on this journey with us sooner. This two-way process should be the mark of our continuous engagement and fundamentals of our nation building as we progress. With this, I support the bill and hope the public service sector continues to uphold the standards and raise the bars to greater heights.